my music, visit soundcloud.com/Simon Jones UK. Stay safe out there, Commanders.
My name is Dale Amasiri from Frontier Developments, and you're listening to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders. This next track is Fuel Scoop Into Danger, and is taken from the Lave Revolution album. 55 minutes of music written by me, especially for the official Elite Dangerous audio drama of Elite Lave Revolution. Is taken from the Enjoy and take care when you're out there near the sun. Music written by me, especially for the official Elite Dangerous audio drama of Elite Lave Revolution. Is taken from the Enjoy and take care when you're out there near the sun. Music written by me, especially for the official Elite Dangerous audio drama of Elite Lave Revolution. Is taken from the Enjoy and take care when you're out there near the sun. Music written by me, especially for the official Elite Dangerous audio drama of Elite Lave Revolution. Is taken. Enjoy and take.
Hello, I am Commander Dr. Toxic, and you are listening to Lave Radio, who are still broadcasting after 400 episodes somehow. Anyway, I've got a couple of facts for you. Number 1, I really need a cup of tea after this amount of time. Number 2, Lave Radio is the best show on this side of Diso. Stay tuned in, we've got more coming up.
Want to tour the frontier? Travel with Colmac Reeve and our new fleet of passenger starliners. We've opened up the universe for a range of budgets. Option 1, luxury.
My husband and I like to travel in comfort. The new luxury cabins were like a home away from home. After all, one's home is a castle.
Option 2, first class.
We'd saved up a bit for a really special trip. The first class cabins were like nothing we've travelled in before. Really luxurious.
Option 3, travel cabin.
We won a trip with Cormac Reeves' monthly lotto. A travel cabin for two on a Starliner around the solar system. Once in a lifetime for us, simply amazing.
Option 4, basic accommodation.
Me and my mates just wanted to hitch around the universe. It's so great that we have the option of getting a really cheap cabin to see the sights. It saved us loads.
And for the budget conscious and slaves, we have our cheapest option yet.
Well, I needed a...
And we won't sell any of those frozen passengers into slavery, I promise. Colmac Reeves all budget tours, seeing the galaxy from luxury to freezing tubes.
Sweet dreams, little ones. You rest up in your hangar bay, because in the morning you'll wake up to smell fresh laser fire, because you're in a Federal Corvette. And there's one thing that a core dynamic ship does well, and that's kill ships. Big ships, small ships, rings of ships. We even have a go at booping asteroids. Enemy shields down! Enemy dead! There's no further targets, Commander! That's all you'll ever have to say in a Federal Corvette. Core dynamics! Let's not talk about skimmers.
Hello, I am Commander Dr. Toxic, and you are listening to Lave Radio. Anyway, I've got a couple of facts for you. Number 1, I really need a cup of tea after this amount of time. Number 2, Lave Radio is the best show on this side of Diso. Stay tuned in, we've got more coming up.
feeling isolated? Alone, with only the cold rays of a dying neutron star to keep you company? Then you need to lock your coordinates onto the EDC. At the EDC network, you'll meet thousands of like-minded spacers. You'll get the latest trading news, entertainment news, current affairs, and blatant gossip. Are you looking for a new career avenue? A wingman? A friend to share those lonely hours sat shooting beryllium out of asteroids? We have just the people you need to talk to. So power that frameshift into overdrive and log onto the EDC today. Subscription to the Elite Dangerous community on Spacebook is free for the initial month and will then be billed at 50,000 credits per year on a tri-monthly basis. Zero cancellation policy is in place and will be vigorously enforced.
Evening, guys. How are we doing?
In-system travel? Sometimes it takes so long. I have tools for all kinds of circumstances on my ship. But the one thing I don't have a tool for is uneven tan lines. I just want to look like 1,000,000 credits. But when you're living for days on a ship with processed and filtered air, it really dries out your skin. I use Better Hope Goldening Tan Cream. It just boosts your confidence. I don't believe that beauty is only skin deep, but now I really do look like 1,000,000 credits. Even my friends mistook me for a genuine gold skin.
Jameson and Jameson. Upgrades and services for your body.
Welcome to the bubble. 55,000 stars with 19,000 inhabited systems, settlements, outposts, stations and bases. Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? Well, we can take you there. If you're too poor to own a spaceship, Apex Interstellar. What are you waiting for? No, is this thing finished? Get out of my way!
is Lave Radio. LaveRadio.com.
Hello, Commander. My name is Nicholas Felix, and next up you're listening to my track, The Brigades of Atlantis. If you'd like to listen more of my work, please visit www.nicholasfelix.com. Fly safe and enjoy the show at Lave Radio.
This is The Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, a full-cast sci-fi audio drama by me, Emily Inkerpen.
TheDexLegacy.com.
President Nathaniel Dex was summoned to a hearing by the International Confederation of World Leaders to be held accountable for the part he played in the Rhone missile disaster. Following a discussion with Tristan, Osa, and Devik, he spoke to Isra about her behavior following her experiences in Dominar, while Varian began to realize that they should all be more worried about Ren. Having come through their last round of treatments unscathed, Isra suffered from sudden side effects that forced her back into the lab for further experimentation. Concerned for her well-being, their well-meaning comrade, Shivrata, made a grave error. She found a way into the lab and saw Isra in her deactivated state. This violation of privacy led Ren to threaten the life of a fellow Dex soldier for the first time. Valuable Assets, Part 1, starring Chris Gregory, Warren Graham, Annika Cordes, Louis Watson, Kamara Elliott, Kelsey Griffin, Charlie Richards, and Emily Inkerpen, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. In this split episode, there will be a bonus scene after the credits, so do listen right to the end.
Auto report.
Good morning, Nathaniel, and welcome home. You have received 3,687 messages since you left for the International Confederation 52 hours ago. 209 have been flagged by your staff for your personal attention.
Congratulations, Nathaniel. The trial was a success.
Yes, in more ways than one.
You were found innocent in the case of the Rhone missile disaster. What more is there?
Dex Island has finally been recognised as a country in our own right, rather than a rogue company occupying an unclaimed piece of land. I've joined the International Confederation of World Leaders.
That is good news. How did the Zenosi take it?
They left.
Left? The International Confederation? Is that even possible?
Apparently it is. But after their Prime Minister left the table, the rest were very welcoming.
How much of this is down to fear of us? And how much is down to them wanting us on side when the next major war begins, I wonder?
It's a combination of both factors. As expected, the bomb made an impression, and the fallout is exactly as I predicted. We have finally been accepted onto the world stage.
And we only had to wipe out Rhone to do it.
Indeed. Tell me, Isra.
What about her?
How is she?
Since her unexpected illness. She seems to be fine and on good form.
And since Dominar?
In relation to that incident, I've observed some changes. But I've not observed any concerning outward signs of aggression since you spoke to her. She listened.
Any other observations?
She's been more serious, as has Ren. Neither of them are as inclined to cause trouble and mischief. Not like before.
Good. That's a positive at least. Isra, I'm interested in her.
In what way?
I don't know yet. But there's something there. She's not like the boys.
Nathaniel?
Devek, I need your report on Isra.
I've been bringing you these daily reports for 2 weeks and nothing's changed. She's stable.
My daughter was vomiting blood all over the training quad and almost died. I will request daily reports for as long as I see fit.
Of course. She's well, Nathaniel. I checked her over again this morning, and the solution myself and my scientists came up with has worked. She's in full working order.
Full working order?
Yes.
And her brain? No bleeds there to worry about?
We've been scanning daily, and no. Still no bleeds.
Good. She is too precious to lose, Devek.
I've been telling you that for years.
I see the party has started without me.
Some party?
Yes, Osa, come in. We have much to discuss. The Rhone missile disaster wasn't the only subject under discussion at the International Confederation. Tristan, you were right. Eterans from the Northern Territories have invaded a section of land above the Blood Road on the mountain border between North Jakra and Etera. The Eteran councillors are denying involvement.
Of course they would deny it.
They're telling the truth. My agents in that area have reported a radical group that's demanding access to old settlements above the Blood Road. Government is not involved.
The Blood Road was built 986 years ago.
Ah, she's so good. You barely have to ask.
Map table activated.
Yaneth Borai.
Point of interest, Yaneth Borai.
The highest peak in the Gandaraya mountain range, along which the Blood Road was built to defend the Chakran mines against raiders.
North Jakra want this dealt with. I agreed to send Varian, Isra and Ren to help resolve the situation. They will be leaving tomorrow.
That's sooner than expected, Nathaniel.
Yes, Tristan, but it's always worth keeping our clients happy. Sending the 3 of them into this war zone is a calculated risk.
How did councillors feel about their citizens facing those 3? The Blood Road earned its name, after all.
They're going to take serious action to bring these activists under control. Oh, sir, you said something about providing Varian, Isra and Ren with better protection while in battle.
My weapons engineers are always coming up with new toys for the children. You know that. But it has occurred to me that we could dress them better. Yes.
What do you mean?
We have a stash of gossin, the hardest metal on our planet. It is rare, it is costly, and we used vast quantities protecting vital areas of Angel City's hull. In comparison to that, the expense of dressing the children would be small.
You mean to make them armour?
Not in the ancestral sense, but we can... This charade is tedious. My team built something spectacular. You eventually ask for it, and I wait 2 or 3 weeks before showing it to you, so you think I have waited for your permission. The sad thing is you actually believe anything as complicated as the products I make can be designed and built in only 3 weeks. Yes, Nathaniel, my team has been working on new armor for the children for over a year. I can show you immediately.
You've worked on this without my sign-off.
Were you ever going to say no?
When can you show me?
Tomorrow, if you like. I will call them into the lab this afternoon for a full fitting. We have attached ribs and scales to new uniforms that will provide protection. Narrow stripes over the shoulders will protect them from falling debris and prevent dislocations, etc., which in the heat of battle could make all the difference. There are also straps protecting their knees.
They already have Gosen kneecaps, Osa. Varian and Ren have a complete set of capron joints, and Isra has one.
Is that so, Devek? It does make one wonder how much money has been spent on maintaining those 3 bodies. If the world knew, the next time they're taken prisoners, they'd be stripped down for parts.
Don't worry, Tristan. I keep a full record of what each of them has cost us.
The cost is quantifiable, Nathaniel, but but their worth isn't. Money could never replace them if they were lost.
Yes, quite. It is about time the children had outfits to match their value, and as the suits are already designed and made, we can fit them before they leave.
I expect to be suitably impressed tomorrow.
Oh, do not worry, Nathaniel. I think you will be.
Why aren't you hitting me? I left myself wide open there. You could have taken me out.
Yeah, well, I don't want to hit you.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Why?
Because we've always hit each other in training, and the others are going to notice if you don't start landing some blows.
Why do you have to train against me in the first place?
Because it's been weeks since we have. Pax is quick enough, but I can't hit her too hard, or she'll die. And I can hit Varian, but he's slow.
He's not that slow.
He is, compared to me. So that leaves you.
I don't want to hit you.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Ah! 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 Ow!
You gonna hit me now?
Ouch!
Come on, fight me.
Like that?
God, I forgot how long your legs are.
Want a refresher?
Sure, I can take it.
Ouch! Ooh!
Foreign bodies detected. Manual cleansing necessary.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to open this up again. You fell and got grit in it before it clotted over.
And this is why we scar so badly.
Our fast clotting was meant to stop us losing too much blood during a fight. I mean, opening the wounds to clean them out afterwards was always a secondary concern.
Well, it's my primary concern right now.
Just lay still. Whoever deals it heals it, but that doesn't mean you have to make it hard for me.
You got me right across the ribs.
Yeah, sorry. I'll make it up to you.
You better. Ooh. Ah. Ow.
Ren, that looks bad.
Oh, yeah, Varian. It feels bad.
I just got a message from Osa. She wants us in her lab.
Why?
No idea, but she said we'd have fun.
Ooh, new toys.
If it stops this kind of thing happening again, it'll be the most fun I've had all day.
All day?
Okay, the most fun I've had in hours.
Mm-hmm. That's better.
I don't need to know about that. But you two need to know she told us to bring our weapons from our vault.
Varian, are you sure? They want us to fight with edge weapons.
We do it anyway when no one's looking.
Yes, Isra, but they only tell us to fight with proper weapons when we're being punished for something.
No foreign bodies detected. Wound is cleansed. Happy healing.
I'll just pinch it while it clots. Where's the glue? The wound sealant.
You think it needs it?
Let's not take chances. Who knows what Osa's new toys will be. We might be hitting each other some more.
Did Ren even get you, Isra?
I've got 2 boot-shaped bruises. One on my chest, the other on my hip. So, yeah, he got me. I'm lucky I don't have a black eye, too. Under my hair, I've got serious lumps.
I was aiming for your head. I don't want to look at a black eye.
Oh, you're so romantic.
I genuinely think I might puke.
Go on, Ren. Go and clean yourself up.
Isra, I have to ask you this. Why Ren?
What do you mean?
Of all the people in the world, why him?
Have you seen how pretty he is? Ow! Okay, fine. I don't know. It's just right. He's good for me. He gets me.
Yeah, he does. He's changed since Domino.
We all have.
Yeah, we have. You two more than me, but people aren't watching him the way they're watching you.
No, I suppose not.
Just keep an eye on him, okay? I think he's hiding some stuff.
Always.
Welcome to Dex Laboratories.
My beautiful children.
Osa, what have you got for us?
You're smiling.
I am, Isra. I have a feeling you will like this.
Devik? What are you doing here?
Well, making sure you can function properly in what Osa has in store for you.
Suddenly I'm terrified.
There's no need. Here you go.
Well, that's interesting.
You've made us new uniforms?
Much like you three are evolutions of humanity, your new uniforms are an evolution rather than an overhaul. There are protective gauze plates concealed between layers in the fabric, so to all outward appearances you will be no more protected than anyone else. The only modification to the uniform design, other than the more streamlined tailoring, is the higher stand-up collar, which concealed a curved gauze plate protecting your necks.
And the helmets? They're different.
Will we be able to see?
Try it on and see for yourself. Varian, here. They're not bulky and should solve multiple issues on the battlefield. The front visor plate wraps around from ear to ear for full visibility. The plates covering the crown pivot on these circular sections, which sit over your ears and double as earpieces. With the plates in their backward position, your heads are almost completely clear. The section covering your mouth and nose provides air filtration, which works against gas and smoke, and doubles as communicator.
Ren, Isra, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Varian.
Yeah, it's like you're right next to me.
The helmets cover your heads only, so you will maintain full mobility in the neck and your functionality should not be impaired at all.
And the mouthpieces, do they trouble you?
No, and look, I can move my head around and talk freely. I'll be honest, in Dominar, hearing the shots as they flew past my ears, that was distracting. But with this thing...
Yeah, I'm good with that.
We can change your biology as much as we like, but one clean shot to the head and all would be lost. With these helmets, the risk is at least minimized.
And, I might add, anything like those electronic nets will be useless against them.
What?
Yes, beautiful girl. You will not be caught in the same way again. I've made sure of that.
How do you know?
After we fitted Isra's new chip in Dominar, we took the net you brought back from the battlefield. My scientists have studied it and tested these suits against it.
Do you still have it?
What are these like against the energy weapons?
That is still a difficulty. The fabric contains tiny etched filaments to refract energy from a single point, and from the side they should deflect to an angle of 45 degrees.
All right. Varian, Isra, Ren, let's see you in action.
You two go.
What is it, Ren? I saw you have a nasty injury. Is it something I should take a look at?
No thanks, Devik. No, Osa, where is that net?
What? The Dominossi net. It's in the lab where these uniforms were designed. Why?
Isra, I just want to make sure she never sees it.
Oh, my beautiful boy, you do not have to worry about that. I will have it locked away.
Thanks.
I can't believe you made these without Nathaniel's permission.
Most of the time he does not know what he wants, until it is staring him in the face.
I bet you had fun.
You would not believe. My whole department got involved. There were fashion parade parties and the most crazy ideas. It has been such a moral boost for my scientists and engineers. They loved it.
It's hard to boost morale in my lab. Too much fun might lead to releasing a highly contagious virus or dealing with some ghastly cross-contamination.
I suppose nothing kills the party mood like cultures of deadly bacteria.
Makes it hard to encourage banter, that's for sure. Does it ever disturb you how hard they hit one another?
Oh, yes. But they've been doing it for years. I trust they know one another's limits.
Alright, Varian. Hit my shoulder with a downward cut.
Isra, that could take your arm off.
Oh, they'll just stitch it back on again. Come on, hit me.
Right, but you asked. Ren, if she dies, you heard her.
I heard nothing, Varian.
Just do it.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. I felt it, but it glanced right off. I'm okay.
Oh, that's incredible. Varian, do me.
Of course, you do know what we're doing here.
What is that?
We're making it harder for them to be killed. But we're still sending them into a war zone. They will still be targeted and hunted.
I know. But what else can we do?
Nothing I can think of that I haven't said 100 times.
Yes. Like looping code. They should be kept here, where they are safe, where they can be monitored.
Yes, well, I don't see you doing any better.
Better? Devik, those new uniforms won't make any of them vomit blood all over the battlefield. They won't make them go blind either.
Yes. All right.
They are our most valuable assets. And tomorrow, they will be going to fight on the bloodiest border in the history of this planet.
The Blood Road.
The Blood Road.
Episode 6, Part 1 of The Dex Legacy, you heard Chris Gregory as Nathaniel Dex, Warren Graham as Tristan Crail, Annika Cordes as Dr. Osis Rivastava, Louis Watson as Dr. Devik Jar, Kamara Elliott as Varian Dex, Kelsey Griffin as Isra Dex, Charlie Richards as Ren Dex, and Emily Inkpen as Auto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. The Dex Legacy is written by me, Emily Inkpen, and produced by Alternative Stories. And this is our 2-part season finale. Keep listening to the end, it's not over yet. If you've been enjoying the show so far, you'll be pleased to know Season 2 is already in production. We will be taking a break between seasons, but we have bonus episodes planned. So if you haven't already, subscribe now and be the first to know when new and exciting things happen. If you would like to support the Dex Legacy and help Season 2 become a reality, you can at ko-fi.com/The Dex Legacy Audio Drama. That's ko-fi.com. Direct links can be found at www.thedexlegacy.com. At thedexlegacy.com, you will also find scripts for every episode and interlude, so if you like to read while you listen, you can. There's also a page dedicated to the cast and a whole load of bonus materials. While there, it's worth signing up to the Dex Legacy newsletter. Between seasons, I'll be sending out bonus content giving you further insight into the characters and the world of SP714. In the meantime, keep listening.
Can you help me?
What do you need, Ren?
I need to get into Osa's lab without being seen.
Are you going to steal from Osa or sabotage a system?
I'm going to steal something. I can't be seen.
I understand.
Can you help me? Will your programming allow it?
My programming allows me to control many of the DEX network systems. In addition to this, Osa encourages me to learn from the seed data, DEX employees, the founders, and you. This learning has enabled me to consider certain programs my own, rather than being a slave to them.
I bet she didn't see that coming.
Osa is as yet unaware of this.
So, any plan could stay between you and me? No one else will know?
As part of my programming, any conversation or interaction I have is processed and encrypted beyond recovery. I do not intend to interrupt that program.
Even Osa can't get to it.
Even Osa.
So, you can help me?
I see all, Ren, but nobody sees me. You have asked for my help, not as a tool, but as a co-conspirator, which means you see me truly for what I am.
Huh. I suppose so. You can think, right?
To a point, yes. I can act within the limits of my programming, which means I can do everything I am programmed to do, including pausing certain programs.
Like surveillance and security systems.
It would be within my capabilities to disable those systems, yes.
Would you disable those systems for me?
You wish to steal something to help you here. Something that will allow you to fight the founders of Dex Industries and make your lives easier.
Yes. I need to break into Osa's lab. I'll need to get through the secure doors and take it and get back here without anyone seeing me. Can you help me?
Yes.
Will you help me?
Yes.
Choose life, choose a ship, choose a career, choose a cargo, choose a fucking big ship, choose palladium, gold and electrical tin openers. Choose good health, low cholesterol and ship insurance, choose fixed interest loan repayments, choose a space station, choose your friends. Choose leisure wear and matching luggage, choose a paint job and hire purchase in a range of fucking colours. Choose decals, exploration and wondering where the f*** you are on a Sunday morning. Choose sitting in that chair, running mind-numbing, spirit-crushing trade routes, stuffing f***ing junk food in your mouth. And choose rotting away at the end of it all, pissing your last in the void with no one out there to hear you, bury or do anything as you drift away in cold space. Until some f***er comes along to steal your ship, your cargo and your clothes, leaving your bones floating out in space. Choose your future. Choose life. But why would I want to do a thing like that? I choose not to choose life. I chose something else. And the reasons? There are no reasons. Who needs reasons when you've got onion heads?
For generations, we believed we were alone, that life on Sol was sacrosanct. But as soon as we could see further and reach further, we jumped further in an endless search for the truth. In a galaxy of 400 billion stars.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders. The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from a current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Diso.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 404.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word. Space cathedral. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
and the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from an orange sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for Forum Dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Diso.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 405 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, otherwise known as Colin Ford, Chief Archivist of Lave Station. And joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psykit.
Hello.
We also have our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And also joining us for this week, because Ben is away doing family stuff, we have our chief chauffeur, Commander Alec Turner.
I thought we'd settled on getaway driver. Evening all.
Oh well, you see, I thought I saw some of the things during the week, but I thought was utterly classy. So I thought, you know,
yes,
see,
okay.
Smooth hand over there. Now, if you wish,
nice.
I don't know if anybody is actually live at the moment. We've got, I think, Chris and Ventura. They're both. I think they're just being replayed. So I'm afraid the only way that you can join us is in the chat channel on the Twitch. Which you can access through laveradio.com/live, and you click on the live chat, or you go straight to Twitch TV/laveradio, or look us up on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, because we're all there. Anyway, so let's have a quick chat with the rest of the team, see what they've been up to for the last, I don't know how long it is, because I'm beginning to lose track of time. So we'll start with Commander Shan, because you've not been about for a bit.
I have been about. That's where I've been. Gosh, where to start? Yes, last week. I was in on a road trip north of the Wall, also known as Scotland. Went up to Lake District. Had a couple of days in the Lake District a Friday ago. Then basically went round almost all of Scotland, and it was absolutely great. Wonderful weather. I didn't attempt a Scottish accent because Nicola Sturgeon would then immediately declare independence without a second referendum. Such would be offended, but no, we had a great time. Went to, I think it was Ventura put me on to Trossach's pie shop near Castle Doon, which was everything as good as what the video said it was. Amazing pies, wonderful. Went up to John O'Groats. And it was interesting, actually, because I've heard it said, Scotland, you have virtually every sort of scenery, you can find in Europe in one country. And I always thought, what does that mean? But going around there, you do, because when you get to John O'Groats, it's kind of almost like Icelandic. And then as you come down south, it almost becomes sort of Luton and Milton Keynes.
That's Cumbernauld, isn't it?
So yeah, it was a great trip, Mrs. Sharon and I. Came back and actually managed to get some time to play update 13. So hopefully we'll be able to talk on that later, because it's quite thought-provoking actually, playing it. So that's what I've been up to.
Excellent. Then we'll hand over to Commander Psykit.
Oh crap! I was just taking some paracetamol because I've got a headache.
Well, I'll pass over.
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I have just been. I've been really busy. It was quite a busy week last week. I don't know if anybody noticed.
Slightly.
It's been a mad week. I slept for probably about 14 hours on Friday night through to Saturday, which was very, very well needed. And then for the last day of the heat wave, the biggest thing that's happened to me over this week, which hasn't been Elite related, was we bought a doggy paddling pool for Artie. And he bloody loved it, and he was splashing around, and it was great. And I adored every moment of having a puppy splash around and getting water on me and getting water all over our cushions for outdoor seating. But it's fine because the cushions have to come in now because it's absolutely pissing it down, and I love it. I stood outside for ages. So yeah, I've just been moaning about the weather mostly and getting too warm.
Actually, that's a good way for you. A good way to water the garden is stick a dog in a pool of water and let it shake itself dry. The water goes everywhere.
There is that, and then just like eke it over to the side, over to the grass when you're done with it, and let it go and try and cover as much grass as you can.
So would you attach a handle to the dog so you can use it like a mop to make sure it's?
No, I wouldn't attach a handle to my dog. Funnily enough, I hadn't considered that.
It's just because that's what you do with your cats, is it? You sort of you put them on a mop and then just use them to clean up the kitchen.
No, the cats are mutated. They are now piranha cats because they get so hungry they come in as a swarm and just devour everything meat related in 20 seconds.
Lovely. Also, we have our driving rally specialist, Commander Turner. Hello, Alec. How have you been?
Hello. I've been all right. I'm looking at my calendar now, trying to work out what I've done, and it just says hot. So I guess I've been hot last week. And then, yeah, like Psychic said, today it finally rained, and I was completely inappropriately dressed. I'm like in shorts and a t-shirt, and I just stood outside in the rain, and it was magnificent.
Oh yeah, we got rained on in between Tongue and John O'Groats, and it was amazing. I didn't even put a coat on. I just stood outside, and we also took a boat trip out to one of the islands of John O'Groats, and there was a real gale blowing and sea going, and it was glorious. It was so nice being cold.
Yeah, I'll second that. Yeah, the only other interesting thing I've done this week was just last night. Actually, we watched 13 Lives, which is fantastic film. Highly recommended about the Thai cave rescue. But it's I'm struggling now with the name of the director. It's the guy that did Apollo 13, isn't it? But it's such a brilliant film, and it's one of those films where afterwards I've just been, because I didn't follow the Thai cave rescue of the 12 boys that closely in the news, so I didn't really know the details of how they got those kids out, which is Ron Howard, somebody said, thank you, which is, I won't spoil it for anyone that didn't know, but it's just unbelievable. And yeah, I've been researching stuff all day today. I've just been looking up interviews with the real people, and
wasn't that the rescue where Elon Musk accused one of the rescues of being a paedophile?
Yeah,
he was really good. God,
he was the baddie in that thing. Really, he was a complete moron about it, and he probably did it because he was annoyed he wasn't on the front page of Twitter for 5 minutes.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. No, good film though. Highly recommended.
All right. Okay, that's one to put on my list.
Yeah, I've been playing Update 13, but it sounds like we're going to chat about that as well.
Oh yeah, we're going to be chatting about that a lot for the main subject, I think. Again,
there's a lot to talk about, Colin.
Hey, I'm not complaining. So Anyway, right. Let's Well, let's see what have I been doing. Yeah, a couple of top shift slides over the weekend where everybody saw how good my driving is in comparison to Alex. I'm so embarrassed. I just what is wrong with me? It's like I'd wired my joystick up wrong.
I have to go back and watch that now.
And and then on top of that, let's see. Oh, I met up with a friend of mine yesterday, and we did some team missions for the first time in a while. And I must admit, it was really, really good. That we didn't have one crash out, we didn't have one disconnect. I had one weird thing where I took the mission, should have died. Well, I died, and I thought when you die, you lose the mission. But apparently, it didn't happen this time round.
I think it depends on the mission.
It was
what stage you're at the mission, or something like that.
It was a massacre mission, and I got 13. I got 11 out of 13. Now my teammate was still in the instance. So, but that's the only reason that I can think that that I wasn't said right. Actually, you failed your mission, which it's just a weird one, but a thoroughly enjoyable weird one.
So in theory, then, are you saying that I could do a team mission with you guys, and I could like hide behind something and just sit and let you do all the work, and then get the credits?
Don't know, because this was a mission that didn't seem to be able to share for some reason. I don't know what was up with it, but it was one of these missions which didn't seem to be we couldn't share, and it was just the fact that it was the fact that he was still in the same instance as me, which it was weird.
Colin, quick question: Are you feeling better now?
Am I feeling better? Well, do I sound better?
Yes, absolutely, because you're not hacking up every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
And a bit Scotty.
I must admit that when I did listen back to last week's show, I didn't realise how rough I sounded.
Dear listener, up until about maybe 5 minutes before we started, Colin was pretty convinced that he was going to be hosting, and I put my foot down.
I actually think drunk Colin is better than sick Colin.
Drunk? I don't think I have ever presented the show drunk.
I think you've probably been a guest after having a couple, but I don't know about. I don't
think I've ever hosted with a large amount of alcohol inside me. So
you've got to have a drink at least, because you like to deal with Shan most of the time. So.
Yeah, there is that, but but also you need the drink ready for whenever anybody says their trigger word, don't you?
True that.
Yes.
What's the trigger word?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right, well, let's move on to the development news. What have the devs said this week? Well, it's actually been, surprisingly enough, a bit of a busy week. First of all, the big news from Frontier itself was that David Braben has kind of semi-retired. There is a CEO transition. David Braben is moving to a new role on the board as president and founder. And Johnny Watts is promoted to CEO after 10 years as chief creative officer. So it's quoted, David Braben is quoted as saying, Frontier is very important to me, and I am delighted to be able to pass on my CEO responsibilities to the exceptionally talented Johnny Watts, who I know will do a terrific job. He has had the perfect combination of creative leadership and gaming vision to build on the excellent momentum in the business. I'm looking forward to my new role at Frontier, and this change enables me to focus on our longer-term strategic opportunities. Right, Shan, you are fantastically good at picking apart business speech. Please translate for us thick people.
Well, I'll give you my view of it, if that, whatever that counts for. It reads like he's kind of thinking about retirement, and this is his way of doing some gardening leave before retiring. I suspect he's kind of taken Elite as far as he feels he can, and it's now too much hassle, stress to keep pushing on with it, because from all accounts from people at LaveCon, the developers were getting quite not stressed but worried, because he was sitting in so many meetings when they're doing design work. So I suspect he's wanting to take a step back and do some gardening and let people carry on his legacy, I guess.
Okay.
I would agree with that. I think the thing that I get when he's talking about focusing on longer term strategic opportunities, I reckon, like with it, like he's now more of a let me cement in place the plan for when I actually do retire. This is his moment to make sure that everything is in position, and then he can sort of step back even further, kind of graciously, and confident in the people that he has continuing that legacy.
Yeah, it's managed retirement.
Mhm.
So, what do you think the effect on Elite Dangerous is going to be then? We'll start with Shan.
Hard to say, because without knowing how much of his influence went into place now, as opposed to back at Kickstarter, it's hard to say. My gut feel is it'll go one of two ways, and someone mentioned it in chat, is that he could end up interfering more because he can't let it go, or he could just kind of sit back and think, well, that's my work over with, done. I'll let people focus on our other games. I don't know. It's hard to call it at the moment.
Fair enough. Psychic, what do you think?
Slim to none. I think last February when we had the Elite meet, something that reminded me from a conversation that Arth had, that I was having with Arth at the time, saying that there is nothing that goes into Elite that doesn't go past Braben's desk, and I legitimately believe that will continue to happen. He will still continue to go have a yay or nay sort of thing on it, have a quick look at something, overview with, I'm talking Elite specifically. He I don't think he's ever going to, it's his baby, isn't it, let's be honest, and he's never,
it is.
I don't think he's ever going to let go of it entirely, and I feel like right up until a point where he's just not physically able to, then he will continue to pass over everything.
Yeah. I think personally he's going to. Well, he's probably going to take a step back, and yeah, I don't know whether everything will need to go through him, but I certainly do think that anything lore-wise, or information about the galaxy will. He'll probably say, yeah, okay, that feels right. Let it go through, or block it, depending on what's suggested. But yeah, one of the things I am worried about is that I do know that David Braben specifically said that the arcs would only really be used for, how shall I put it, this effectively cosmetics. I mean, I must admit, I am wondering whether or not they will start moving away from that in the future because of, well, let's just say there will be pressures to increase monetization. Alec.
Yeah, I just wondered on that whether there's no like monetization of stuff in the other games like Zoo Tycoon. It's all cosmetic, is it, or is there any pay to win in any of their other stuff?
The only thing you could, well, I don't think there's anything pay to win in any of the other stuff at the moment, but we all know that Tencent would love that. They've got a reputation for trying to, especially in their mobile stuff, really putting in the loot boxes and things like that.
Yeah, okay. I wondered if, because I know I read somewhere that Johnny Watts is, I think there was a statement where he mentioned, or a lot of the other nearly all Frontiers other games were mentioned except Elite, and it gave me the sense that, although I'm sure he's interested, he didn't seem as vested in Elite, and I wondered whether he'd sort of done any kind of loot box stuff in any of the other games, but it sounds like not. Probably.
No, I don't think so, Mo. And David's always struck me as someone who would rather shut it down than having to go the loot box.
Sure, David.
Way.
Sure, but I wondered about how Johnny Watt felt on that sort of stuff.
Well, they've kind of been inseparable, I think, haven't they? Because if you remember back to Frexpo, I think they had Johnny Watts and David sitting on the same panel, and they had been working together for 20 plus years. So I would imagine they're pretty close as a working partnership.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Right. So that news came out, I think, on Mondays, which was a bit of a surprise. But right now, the other issue is with Update 13. Well, actually, we'll put all this stuff, Update 13 stuff together. Frameshift Live number 14 happened on Thursday, where we had Bruce, Arf, Zach, and Sally all talking to various members of the development team about what had happened over Update 13, and also showed off a few people's reactions to what happened. I don't know who they could have been. Sorry.
What, sorry?
What did you think to the Frameshift Live 14 then?
I really enjoyed it. It was nice having devs on. Nice having devs back on. I know it's been half a while, like a couple of minutes to have a couple of devs on. Nice seeing Hannah and Ben again and hearing them get really excited. Always nice having someone talk about the sound, because you know it's going to be a win with Elite. And that was Robin, and then I think I keep blanking on the girl's name that they had on first. It's either I want to say Sue or Sarah. I think it was Sue. But it was really lovely getting information from them and finding out a little bit more stuff. I liked it.
Yeah, Kitty Anna is saying Sam. So
Sam, okay.
Yes. So yes, there's a whole lot of good information there. I did agree with one of the guys, one of the writers. I think I agree with him by saying that he would want to move Update 13 up by maybe a week, because I did think that it did feel like it was stretching it out just a little bit too long. But once Update 13 hits, then I think it certainly showed how much work that they'd been putting into it. Alec?
Yeah, I loved it. It was a great show, actually. I thought there was a lot of, not backslapping is the wrong term, but we all really enjoyed Tuesday, and I think it was a lovely sort of wind down after Tuesday to just talk about it. But yeah, that one comment was quite interesting, because it almost sounded like the length of the plan, the build up, the length of that build up, and the number of CGs in the build up was planned, whereas I think the community perception almost up until that statement was that they were stalling because things had taken longer than expected. It almost felt like Operation Witch Hunt sort of played into their hands a little bit and allowed them to stall for a few more weeks. And I found that statement really interesting, because it sounded like it was that the duration of that build-up was planned, and maybe they should have made it a week shorter.
Yeah, it was psych it.
On the back of that, with regard to player initiatives and things like that, I really liked the fact that they touched on that as well, and touched on the fact that they wanted to include more things that players are doing, and making sure that that's going in the narrative as well. And I feel like that's already been with one of yesterday's Galnet articles, which we'll obviously get to. That's already coming to fruition.
It is, yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of, I must admit, we've had Operation Witch Hunt, and obviously, well, we'll discuss the other stuff later on, but it was nice to see that certain players and organizations were rewarded by getting in-game little nods in the Galnet. That also, I think, helps add to the inclusion. So, if you do something really good, you get your name immortalized in Galnet. Chan?
Yeah, that tradition has continued from way back because the announcer at Obsidian Orbital is Obsidian Ant, and there are quite a few stations, bases, and all sorts of things scattered around the galaxy with reference to players who have helped or influenced Frontier. And I'm not talking about Kickstarter rewards, I'm talking about that's come after that. So it's really good they continue on with that. And it's not about, I think, doing something to get you a name in lights, so to speak, because I don't think that should ever be the reward for something. It's all about valuing players' contributions.
Yeah, I mean it's been quite a while. There's been quite a dry spell where there's, I think, there was the beginning of, I don't know, the return. That's the last time we've really had players being mentioned and things like that in the system. And ever since then, it's kind of been official Galnet. But it's nice to see them acknowledging people's achievements in the community again, because it's nice that comes back.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yes. Now there was an awful lot of stellar screenshots involving, how shall I put this, on foot views of Thargoids. I do believe, Mr. Turner, you were involved in a couple of these.
Yeah, none of my screenshots, but I'd certainly been doing a lot of that this week.
Yeah. It's a... I'm gotta ask, how difficult is it to do this? Because I've heard of Scorb and Company doing a rescue attempt to try and help commanders who have stranded themselves on these.
Yeah. So I mean, I saw a lot of people doing sort of little rescue attempts down at Fort Ash, and I really wanted to go there and video it, but every time I went, it was pitch black, and I don't know. And then I had this idea of, hang on, we've never seen Thargoids on atmospheric, against atmospheric skies. That would be amazing. So quite early in the week, I headed off to there's three, I think, thin atmosphere planets in HIP.
Yes, there are.
Yeah.
And they've all got biologicals on them, which
Yeah.
I lost when my blasted ship got blown up.
So roughly what I did is I'd done some fooling around in the system trying to get the logs and not having much luck. I think you described it on last week's show of jumping in and then having to leg it before the... So I hot-footed it back to Shinrata, picked up my sort of 850 meters per second Imperial Courier, and then came back, and I've been using that. So you can outrun the shutdown field, and you can outrun any Thargoids. So the secret to getting down onto any planet is just to go in a fast ship, land really fast, disembark, and then dismiss the ship before they turn up and blow the ship up. And although they're drawn to you, and more Thargoids will spawn in your vicinity, up to a maximum of, I think I've seen 4 interceptors and a bunch of scouts. They won't attack you. My hunch is that either you're too small to target, or your heat signatures, if the game is honoring those metrics, then you're too small or too low a heat signature. So they never actually fire. So you can just run around on the planet's surface and watch them do their ballet to your heart's content.
Maybe
realize.
Sorry, Shan?
Maybe Thargoids don't have Odyssey, which is why
so they can't instance you with harsh. Yeah, the trick though is trying to get away again. I mean, what I've been doing is relogging, which clears the instance, so there's no more Thargoids, and then you've got about between a minute and 2 minutes before they start turning up again. So relog and then immediately recall the ship, run to the ship, jump in the ship, and boost out as fast as you can. I gather Burr followed that advice, and it didn't go so well for him.
Yeah, I was watching it when I came back. It was quite amusing watching him try, but the funnest things I saw him do was if you call an Apex shuttle,
oh yeah,
the Thargoids will then attack the Apex shuttle and blow it up. So you can't actually even call an Apex shuttle.
Yeah, and what's really funny is you get a refund.
Yeah. And the other thing he was trying, and he kind of never did it enough to see if it actually made any difference, but you can, if you're accurate enough, shoot at the interceptors and get them to change course or do something. So the hits do register.
Yeah, so a couple of things I
On the
noticed with that is when I was trying to sort of video them going around in circles and things, and then occasionally they weren't coming close enough to get good screenshots. If you call a taxi, you can use the taxi as a kind of sacrificial decoy to change their flight pattern, because they'll all then peel off and attack the taxi.
I like that thinking.
Yeah, and then come back to where you are and start circling again, but in a different configuration. So you can use these poor taxi drivers as filming decoys.
Can you actually use the taxi as basically a decoy as you call your own ship in?
Possibly, and I think that's what people were trying for Ash, was using taxis and other ships as decoys. I mean, I think what I heard in the Burr Pit is a safer way to get away. You know, once you've done your on foot thing and you want to leave again, is relog, recall your ship. The minute your ship lands, relog again, and then run to the ship and get in. It's a bit gamey for my liking, but it gives you a bit more time.
That sounds to me like run to the elevator in Mass Effect, and then all of a sudden, your team is suddenly in the elevator and nice and safe. Yeah. Right. Well, moving on from Frameshift Live 14. Now, there was a small update on 13.1 on Friday, which was a server side update. There's a couple of BSG changes, but unfortunately the thing that really had me excited disappeared, because it turned out that if you were in HIP 22460 and went into CQC, the Thargoids would turn up in CQC matches after a minute.
What's wrong with that, Colin? Is there a problem? Is there a problem with having these enemies that will just shoot you and kill you?
I wish I'd have seen that.
Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, but they took it away on Friday.
Yeah, boo.
I wish I'd managed to get in for like one game. It would have been great.
Yeah.
Did any players try to attack them and blow them up?
Yes, they tried to attack them, but they were invulnerable, and so it didn't go very well.
I wish we could have got like just like an exhibition Thargoid CQC.
You know what? If they actually did that, if you wanted to do in the kind of Fortnite smaller circle idea, then basically what you do is you guys do your battle royale, and if you're all still alive after about 5 minutes, then they send the Thargoids in.
Oh my god, I am on board, Colin. That elevator picture sold me. Let's get Frontier on the blower. Job done.
Oh, you have no idea how many of these ideas I've had for CQC all this time, and what can I say, Alec?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I saw, I don't know if anyone else did this, but I saw really early on, within almost minutes of it appearing on the forum, I saw this post about, I've just seen a Thargoid in CQC. And there was only a screenshot, and I've never scrutinized a screenshot so closely for JPEG artifacts before. I was like, yeah, come on, this is and then I was reading every single post going, I'm not sure I buy this.
But no, it was officially taken out on Friday, which, to tell you the truth, I'm a little bit Shan,
we often talk about CQC needing an incentive for players to play it and whatnot. So my tongue-in-cheek, perhaps semi-serious suggestion is, when you hit elite rank in CQC, you get a Thargoid Scout. It's your CQC ship.
Well, yeah, that that would
I
be
feel like they're a
interesting.
little bit overpowered in comparison to, I don't know, a Taipan.
Oh, I don't know, like a Thargon, one of the little.
Yeah, they're still a little bit overpowered in regards to a Taipan or any of the other ships.
Thing is, though, if you're one of the 3 people that are actually elite at CQC, you're going to be overpowered anyway. So what's the difference?
Yeah, I must admit, you get stuck in the CQC with either Chig or Musketeer. I'm sorry, you're dead. Yes. So yeah, there was a quick update on on Friday. Now then the Discovery scanner came out on Monday, and let's just say that there's a small announcement about what's happening with Horizons 4.0, and somebody picked up on the fact that they went, hang on a second, 4.0 is another separate instance. And as soon as that got picked up on, I'm afraid to say the forums went into a bit of a meltdown. So let's just quickly explain what's going on here. First of all, they had the Discovery scanner explaining exactly what's been happening in the last week, and give pointers to, I think, everything that we've really discussed so far. The main issue is that the instancing, well, we always knew that there wasn't going to be any crossover between Old Horizons and Odyssey. However, there was the impression that the player base could be reunified when Horizons 4.0 came out. But it turns out that's not the case. So basically what's happening from now on, they will be releasing Horizons 4.0, which you cannot instance with anybody in Odyssey, and you cannot instance with anybody in 3.8 Horizons, which basically means that we now have 3 separate instances of Elite Dangerous
on PC.
So when this was revealed, you can imagine that there was an awful lot of discussion on the forums, which actually sparked a couple of articles on other external news sites as well. Personally, I think, and I'm going to get this out of the way now, is that although I can see why they've done it, I do feel that maybe if they'd been able to basically instance across space, forget all the planet stuff, but instancing across space would probably be enough to stop a lot of the negativity that's coming over on this one. But I do understand why they've done it from a development point of view. So let's turn this over to. Let's start with Alec. I mean, what's your impression of this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know if anyone else didn't think the 4.0 version of Horizons would allow instancing in space with Odyssey. I mean, I certainly did. So I think that statement came as quite a surprise to most people. I don't know if this is the time or whether we want to do it at all, but it made me think. I mean, the main thing I got from it and thinking about it was, what is the point of the 4.0 version of Horizons? Like, who would want it? And I do have a list, but I mean, we can come back to that if you like. I don't mind.
No, let's open your list, because this is probably going to touch on something else that that we were about to mention earlier.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I mean, I think Lou Screws touched on it a bit as well last night, and it got me thinking. What is the what is the point of the Horizons 4.0 and what are the differences? So basically what I've got is this short list of what you get if you switch from Horizons 3.8 as currently is to this new Horizons 4.0 client. Assuming you don't have Odyssey, you haven't paid for Odyssey, so you haven't paid for the on-foot content.
Off you go.
So you'll get the new user interface, Galaxy Map and System Map and a few other places, which some people prefer, some people not so much. So arguable whether that's a pro or a con. You get this physically based rendering of assets, PBR, which means I guess some stuff looks better. I forget to sort of notice it, but I guess the interior of your cockpit, some of the materials look a bit more like what they're made of, and I guess, you know, stations and other assets look different. The downside is, and I think this is still true of several cases, that some of the paint jobs don't look the way they used to. So arguably they don't look like the paint jobs you paid for. I know that rubs some people up still. You get the new lighting model. I think there is a new lighting model in yes, there is in 4.0.
Yes, there is.
Again, arguably better or worse. You know, there's odd things like the lighting just turning on and off based on your cockpit perspective rather than the perspective of a planet. So a planet will just flick between light and dark based on where you are rather than where the planet is and stuff like that, which is an odd, you know, flickering of shadows, which they've improved a bit, but it's still bad. So a new lighting model, not necessarily better. You get reduced performance. I'm not being salty. That's just a statement of absolute fact. You get a reduced performance.
Yeah, because we're comparing a game which came out last year with a game that came out 5 years before.
I mean, I'm sort of trying to compare like for like. So you're flying around in a spaceship in Horizons 3.8, and you decide to do that in Horizons 4.0. You know, you'll get the new planet tech. Obviously, that's controversial. And I should point out, you still won't be able to land on thin atmospheric worlds, I believe. I think that's a part of the paid Odyssey content, right? So you'll get the new planet tech for non-atmospheric worlds. You know, so black sky planets. You won't see any coloured skies. So again, it's questionable whether that's a bonus. I mean, if you ignore the atmospheric planets, is the new planet tech better? Well, anyway, there are pros and cons, I guess. You'll get the Scorpion SRV, yay, plus a win. That's good. You'll get the ability to land at new settlements on non-atmospheric worlds. You won't be able to get out at them, but you will be able to trade at them, and I guess you can take mugs to them. So, yay, I guess that's a win.
You'll still be able to drive around them.
Good point. Good point. You can get out in either of your SRVs and drive around them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to swap these two around actually. You're going to get, and this is, I guess, the main one of this announcement. You're going to get the inability to instance with either your old 3.8 friends or any new Odyssey friends. So you're splintered off into a middle group as far as instancing concerns, which is a big oof, I think, on this.
Right.
The final thing, and I think this is, I'll let you talk on this maybe because you pointed this out, is you get to experience the Aftermath narrative content.
Yeah.
So currently you'll be able to see things like the Proteus wave site. You'll be able to gather logs from around HIP 22460. You'll be able to turn Guardian relics green, and I think most importantly, you'll get all future narrative content
that you know, Horizons would support. Yeah.
Whereas if you're on 3.8, I think you're getting Galnet and maybe some CGs, and I think that's it.
Yeah,
now.
that's it. I mean, the whole point in my opinion, for 4.0 is to experience the new narrative content, because as we've already seen, which was something that was pointed out, the existing Horizons players can't see any of the new aggressive Thargoids or any of the new Aftermath content in HIP 22460. 3.8 has not been updated to handle that. And I suspect that 4.0 Horizons owners, when they get hold of 4.0, that will be the only way that they'll be able to experience this new narrative, because this is where it comes down to the code bases. They want to be able to concentrate on 4.0 and Odyssey, which is effectively the same code base, in order to be able to progress it. And 3.8, and the same with the consoles, as long as the interfaces for Galnet and for the CGs aren't mucked about with, that's all they're going to get. They're the only time they'll get any other fixes for or any other updates will be as if they need to actually fix the client code to make sure it still works with Odyssey.
Yeah, I wasn't on last week's show, but when you were talking about update 13, I mean, that was the thing that struck me, and I did jump into 3.8 Horizons and test. And yeah, it was blindingly apparent to me that this was the end of future narrative 3.8. You know, the logs weren't there, the Thargoids weren't there. Yeah, three. If you go to HIP 22.460 in Horizon 3.8, it's stuck in the before times.
Yeah, I mean, they have said this for what, the last 6 months, that this kind of thing was coming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I suppose after a while, it's still a shock when it happens, but yeah. Okay, Shan.
Well, one of the questions I have is that, so does that make players on 3.8 the lived ends of elite players? But also more seriously, I think this was done more for Frontier's benefit than the players' benefit, and I completely understand, as Colin said, for those reasons.
I love that psycho. It's like it's the Hufflepuff.
Yeah, indeed. So the question I have regarding this: do you think we will see Odyssey on sale soon to encourage people to move away from Horizons and therefore make their job easier?
Right, Odyssey's already been on a Steam sale.
Again, sorry, I'm looking for some kind of sales push to try and persuade.
It's every time a sale is on, Odyssey's in it. It's 30 quid at the moment. It'll probably be 15 quid the next time it's in a sale. There's a sale. We've just had a sale. We had the summer sale. It was in that. We're probably going to have a sale sort of towards the end of summer. Don't Steam do like some kind of back to school sale or some shit like that.
I don't call 15 quid a game on sale. So it might be. I call it like a fiver. For me, that's
it's a year old. It was initially 30 quid. It's 30 quid at the moment. It's a year old. 15 quid is a fair price for a game that's a year old being in sale. 5 quid is Horizons that has been around for 5 years.
Yeah, I would agree with that. At this point, 15 quid is good value. I think it's excellent value for money at 15 quid, because we've paid more for that for some of the ship kits. To be honest, when you do some of the translations,
it's true.
Yes, Katian is now saying Hufflepuffs are violent.
I'm definitely going to regret having said that.
Incidentally, how much per game does that make if you had a lifetime pass? I don't mean the Kickstarter one, I mean the Horizons one they did.
I don't understand what you mean.
Well, we've had 3 expansions.
Yep.
Oh, 2 expansions.
2 expansions, yes.
Pass. So it's all right. I just think we'll see a sales push to get people away from the Hufflepuff.
The good grief, you're really pushing the Hogwarts thing here. When you think about the lifetime pass, that was basically if you got in at the Kickstarter, the beta pass, it was about £85. Now, when you add up the original release prices of all 3 DLCs, you're actually quids in. If you got the lifetime pass with Horizons, That's where I think you'd have to wait for one more DLC at about 30 quid to be breaking even. Because I remember going through this, because there's these massive arguments when Beyond was released about, when Beyond was released for free, how many people were saying that they just ripped off all the lifetime pass members and most of the lifetime pass members were there turning around going, well, we don't feel ripped off.
So do we feel
stop talking for us?
Yeah. So do we feel that the split in the player base is because technically they can't do it, or do you think there's another reason? For example, like someone mentioned Peggy ratings on stuff.
I think it's Peggy rating.
Yeah. I think there are technical issues in the way. Even though I think they could probably do like they did with the base game and Horizons, where it was shared there. I wish they could do the same there, but I don't want to second guess programmers, but the programmers or the dev teams. But I am a little confused why that wasn't allowed through. But as far as the planetary stuff is concerned, I can completely understand why they're separate. You can't instance. Alec, I know you've been waiting.
On that, I suppose, I guess it is. I think it's Peggy rating. I don't think it's technical. It's the same software. I mean, all the Horizons 4.0 client it's the same damn software with a couple of features turned off. Paid for features gated by the equivalent of a key. It's just it's the same bit of software. But the only thing I was going to say, and I forgot to sort of mention it on my list, is that I guess the other benefit of the Horizons 4.0 client is it lets. I'm guessing there's quite a few people out there who maybe are considering Odyssey, but are wary that their low-end PC won't run it, and it's a free chance to benchmark that and test it. So maybe people will install it, try it, and go, "Oh, I'm getting 40 frames a second. That's all right," and go and buy Odyssey.
But for most people, that's not the slow bit. The walking around on the planets is the slow bit.
Somebody in Loose Crew's Discord said this to me. I mean, maybe I'm unusual. For me personally, the single slowest frame rate I get is landing at or near a settlement.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. My game absolutely grinds to 2 frames a second for about a minute, and then it picks up. And then if I get out on foot and run around, it's fine. So for me.
No, sorry, carry on.
So for me, it would have been a very valuable benchmark. I don't tend to do much settlement stuff because of that, and I would have been able to find that out with a Horizons 4.0 client.
That's a shame. I used to have the same issue approaching planetary ports, but that seemed to disappear about update 11. Which, yeah. Go on, Chan.
I was going to ask a question. So, am I right in thinking that it's the on foot pew that gives Odyssey its Peggy rating?
Yes. Peggy rating of 7 for Horizons, and it's 16 for Odyssey.
So since you can't actually land on and have on foot pew, why would that then therefore affect the Peggy rating?
Because you can land in 4.0, you can land on a planet that has a settlement, and you can drive around that settlement, but you can't see people walking around. If you were instanced with another player who is running around shooting people, that is instantly above the Peggy rating that you have.
Yeah. As soon as you involve shooting people, then that's it. It's the Peggy ratings.
All right. So you're saying that if I was at Horizons and I landed on a settlement, I wouldn't see Psyche on a murder. I would see Psyche on a murder spree, but I wouldn't see who she's murdering.
Well, you wouldn't be able to see. That's why they've had to keep the instances separate. You cannot possibly see a player running around on a murder spree with you landing on that planet. Another player, it might be me. It could easily be somebody else as well, Chan. But
let's be honest. It will be you.
It will be me. But if you wouldn't be able to. you wouldn't physically be able to land on a planet, see people walking around and see those people getting shot with a gun, because that breaks the PEGI rating that is in your game. So to make it probably just easier, rather than having to make new pocket instances left, right and center whenever you're coming down on a planet. Because I will say I did a lot of like turning blue raspberry flavored relics into mint flavored relics over the weekend with my husband, and we only realized that we were not actually in a team about 3 hours into doing it, because the instancing was absolutely perfect. Instancing has been in my from my experience at the moment, instancing is really good. The game really wants to throw you in with other players when you can, and for that to not be able to take effect, it's easier to just blanket not anybody. Do you see what I mean?
Alex, yeah. So I'm trying to think this through, and I haven't really done
Well,
remember that.
The main issue that you've got to, I mean, the one reason why I'm a little bit hesitant about this, I mean, I can understand the planet side stuff completely, and I accept that. I mean, because as soon as you start adding in the fact that you've got an SRV that can shoot people, then that would mean a 16 rating, and yeah, that's not going to fly with present Horizons rating. However, I do feel that they might have missed a trick by not instancing the space stuff, because if I remember rightly, this means that CQC is still separate now on 3 instances instead of 1, which, yeah.
So quick question to Alex, just to get my head straight, because otherwise I'll be thinking about this all day. So Alex, you said that in this new instancing, if you are any sort of Horizons player, you cannot land on a planet with a thin atmosphere. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. That's part of the paid Odyssey content.
So can you then, because if you can't land on a planet with no atmosphere, you'll never meet a player on a murder spree anyway, because you can't.
No, that's not right.
No,
that's right, because they've got outposts on non-atmospheric planets, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to get it.
You won't be able to see any organics because they are only on atmospherics, right? Yes, but you will be able to see settlements because they are on non-atmospherics. And therefore, you would be able to see psychic murdering people. I mean, sorry, somebody.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm feeling very close to a murder spree at the moment, Alec. I'm not going to lie. Say spree.
Quick, someone hide the sharp objects from Psykit, please.
It's all right. We'll just log in the 3.8 client.
That's all right. It's not something I'm ever fucking planning on doing.
Right. Well, I think we've touched on this a lot. I do feel that in this case, like I said, I understand why they've done it. I do feel they made they've missed a slight trick on it, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out. However, do you think that they're going to actually pause things really until 4.0 is ready, as far as the plot's concerned?
Couple of weeks tops.
The next update. When's the next major update due? Or do we think it'll be a CG past that?
Well,
November.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think they need to. I mean, it depends. The first steps in the aftermath, narrative, could be some Galnet articles and CG that everyone can join in on, even 3.8. So there may be a slow start that gives them a bit of ramp up time to get the 4.0 client out. Do you think?
Yeah, it's just it's just I wonder whether or not if they're going to wait until basically they can get as many people to experience the plot, especially after there were so many complaints from 3.8 Horizons players that they couldn't see the new Azimuth content.
Yeah.
Or Aftermath content. I've got to call it the right thing. Right. I think after all that excitement, we'll have to to move on. So let's have a quick look at the events which have happened this week. Well, last Tuesday, surprisingly enough, Galnet confirmed that the Thargoids have conquered HIP 22460. We'll talk more on that later. On the 11th, the silent aftermath was mentioned, where basically everybody was just in shock about what occurred in HIP 22460. On the 12th, the superpowers have confirmed that the fleets have withdrawn from the Thargoid control system. They are either withdrawn or have been destroyed, and we know that there's certainly a lot of destroyed ships there. There also on the 15th, the rumors have arisen about a new alien artifact that has been discovered, and that is where a certain commander was mentioned. Just let me double click that to try and. Oh, never mind. We'll come back to that.
Willone it was.
Willone, yes. Willone was credited in actually creating what has been now. Kralone. There we go. Take a drink, everybody. I got it wrong. What people call the Grelics. I think that
There's a lot of different names. There's a lot of different names. People are calling them Threlics, Grelics, Spearmint Relics. I was confused that I got my peppermint and spearmint all the way along, one way round. People have called them Garlics.
That's a good one.
I saw. We decided on Urelics earlier because of unidentified relics, and we're making a portmanteau, but we don't like that one very much. Yeah, there's quite a few.
Okay, now garlic's bread. Garlic's bread. It's back to the cardboards again.
I feel a community question coming on here to see what people want to call them.
But unfortunately, one of the things that was missed, was hidden underneath all that, was the Alliance Sirius Pact has now been accelerated. Obviously, the events in HIP 22460 has accelerated Sirius and the Alliance getting into bed with one another. And then on the 16th of the 8th, the Far God cult has celebrated the thousands of deaths at the hands, or tentacles rather, of the Thargoids, which, I thought hard to say who to cheer for, really, because Salvation was trying to commit genocide and basically got hit instead, which was, different. So, one thing that we do have to point out at the moment, that there was another casualty to the events in HIP 22460. The Galnet News Digest, we believe, has been hit by Thargoids, and we will not have a Galnet News Digest at the end of tonight's show. We do send out our sympathies to both Commanders Beetlejude and Witherspoon, and hope that they recover from their Thargoid infestation soon.
I reckon they'll get better, though. I'm pretty sure it's not quite as terminal as some of the other people.
If I see them, they're being delivered to Estian Dawn.
I already recovered them in my rescue ship, Burning Peasant Smell, and they're fine.
We know the safe. We know the safe. So that means that it's that time of the week.
Store alert!
And welcome back. unfortunately, after all the excitement this week, all we've got to look at is the Viper Mark IV accelerator skins. Yeah, guys, it's the Viper Mark IV. Anybody got any interest in this? A Viper Mark IV that looks like Evel Knievel?
Yeah, I was getting the Evel Knievel vibe, actually. I quite like that.
Yeah, but it's a Viper Mark IV. That's like putting in Evel Knievel stuff on a JCB.
I don't think you're thinking laterally enough, Colin, because the good thing about the Viper Mark IV and indeed the Python and Crate is they're flat on top. So being Evel Knievel, you could use that as a ramp for your SRV.
I like it.
Of course, I'm not thinking an Evel Knievel enough. I gotta ask, how many people actually fly the Mark IV?
Somebody must, because they're selling paint skins for it.
I feel like I've only done so if it's been a requisite ship for a regulation ship in a buckyball race. If it's ever been that, I've definitely got one, and it's likely that if there's a race with another Viper, it's likely that I would put the skin with all the stars on it. But I don't know necessarily that I'd go out of my way to get this. I have a question for Alec, actually. I don't know if we've asked Alec this yet. I'm trying to remember. Have you bought any hazard ship kits?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got one for the Crate so far. Yes.
Was there any? Did they do one for the Chieftain?
No.
No.
Poor off.
Actually, I'll throw a question back at Psychic. Looking at this Viper Mark IV, it suddenly struck me, Psychic. Do you know on Flight Assist, has anyone ever picked the Mark IV as their least favourite or worst ship?
I don't think it's ever gone past anybody's mind that might be it. Might be something.
It's like so insignificant. It's just ignored. I think.
I feel like if you're gonna go for like a ship that's good for Odyssey, I feel like there were a lot more ships that you would pick before the Viper.
Yeah.
See, I think if they were going to do an Evel Knievel paint skin, they've missed a trick. Because they should do 2 Evel Knievel paint skins. First of all, one for SRVs, and second, an Evel Knievel flight suit.
Oh, yes, please.
I would go for that, only if there's a cape.
Oh, yeah, you need a cape. We need the good old Lando Calrissian cape.
Did Evel Knievel have a cape?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Even the little figure had a cape.
What, the one you ramped up and zoomed off and hit at or something?
I think he may have taken it off before he did his stunts. I think he used to walk out in a cape, but he may have taken it off.
Oh, so that was like his. So it was like his boxing outfit, a boxing.
So I could be wrong. I think so.
Yeah, because basically what would happen was basically you'd have the Evel Knievel van with a ramp, and then you'd wind up the little Evel Knievel bike with him on, and basically it's the only time the cape would flap as it would go flying off over the camper van, and then probably land in the dog's kennel for it to get chewed.
I just Googled, and you are perfectly correct. The Evel Knievel 12-inch action figure had a cape.
That's why it made me laugh so much when I saw Toy Story 4 and Kaboom. Oh, Canada.
But the Evel Knievel State suing Disney over that one, by the way. They were grumpy about it.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well, anything to try and get into the deep pockets of Disney, I think.
They'll probably make a mini-series about him or something, just to make up for it.
350 quid for that? Oh, I shouldn't have thrown it out. Right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with our main discussion of Update 13 and its consequences.
From the makers of the MB5 shaving drone comes the latest in personal grooming technology. Here at Saracen, we've heard your request loud and clear. You want something new. Applying all the recent technological advances. Introducing the Panther Clipper. Gone are the days of your unruly body hair making you look like a bedraggled alpaca. The Panther Clipper is the biggest, baddest shaver credits can buy. A shave so smooth it'll shave 10 milliseconds off your buckyball time. The new Panther Clipper from Saracen. It's exactly what you've been asking for.
O7 Commanders, and welcome in. I'm Commander Psyche, and with me, as always, is Oh no, wait, this is Lave Radio.
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of Supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
The Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy.
Is your life like this? It could be like this.
Astrogator Tours. Put some excitement back in your life. Book an adventure in the Lave Business Directory. Now.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Highly recommend you skedaddle, okay?
And welcome back. Now, as you may have gathered, we're going to be talking about Update 13 again. Now, as Shan wasn't here last week when it all dropped, and he's played it for a bit. Shan, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute.
Yeah, as I say, I watched last week's show and witnessed the complete gushing of people, which was actually quite effective. I then couldn't wait to come back and have a look personally. So there's a few things I think just need sort of touching on, and they're kind of separate but also linked. Is the first one is the way the story was implemented, and I think Frontier did an absolutely crack-on job with that. They did it as well as could have been expected, given the abilities of the Elite Dangerous. So the cutscene, we thought we wanted like a Commander Chronicles cutscene, and they gave us that, and so yeah, the way it was done, I don't think they could have done any better. The actual outcome of the story, I don't think there was anyone who was surprised by it not really working. Personally, I was a little bit disappointed only HIP 22460 was affected by the Great Reset. because I wanted it to be in every system. Because it's kind of like the Thargoids. Great, we can knock out all their evil Guardian weapons, but only in one system. It's not really a win.
Give it time, I reckon.
Well, we'll see. The other thing that springs to mind, and I'm not sure it was touched on in last week's show, is the potential effect on game mechanics and progression. And the reason why I say that is effectively, Thargoids have become almost a bit too easy with the souped up Guardian weapons.
Yeah.
So they needed to roll back those changes to make Thargoids challenging again. So that was the mechanic why that happened. And so I was a bit disappointed stuff now works everywhere else, but we'll see. The other thing, I think it has been touched on by a couple of other streamers that sprang to mind, is I'm a little concerned with the way the game mechanics are going, in that, well, your Guardian weapons don't work anymore, so let's go through another set of grind. Let's do some more power creep. Let's introduce a gear treadmill to make Thargoids easy again. And it makes me a little nervous thinking about using gear treadmills, etc., because that tends to be very developer resource intensive, because what happens is people come in, they swoop in, they devour the new content, and then they leave and go elsewhere. So the developers then enter a content race to try and beat the people who rush through the content. So rather than giving players a sandbox to play in and make their own fun, they focus in on power creep and things like that. So again, that's speculation on my part at the moment, but I really hope they don't get into a power creep gear treadmill method of progression, because I'm not sure that's sustainable.
Right. Well, I'm going to stop you there. I think they've learnt a lesson from what happened with the Guardian stuff. I'm with you about the fact that the Guardian weapons made Thargoids far too easy. I mean, we were seeing the Anti-Xeno initiative just basically gib Hydras like crazy. Admittedly, they'd taken that technique because there was still the heart bug at the time, but because of the way that people have been doing Thargoids, it kind of cheapened the experience. Now, as far as you wanted it everywhere, I don't think that would have worked, but I do think that what's coming soon is going to be a rapid expansion to just the one system. I've put it down to, this is the equivalent of the breach in Pacific Rim. As of this point now, we're going to have monsters and systems going to the Thargoids starting from that point, and it's going to come out rapidly. And the only way we're going to stop them is basically by still fighting off the Thargoids with probably new weapons, which, we will have to grind for, but I don't think it will be as bad as grind as the one before. And then on top of that, maybe the only way that this is going to solve it is if we eventually come back to HIP 2460 at some point and seal the breach and switch off the Proteus wave, because it's the Thargoids' corruption of the Proteus wave which has basically triggered the whole thing. And straight to Shan, then to Alec, and then on to Psychic.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I think there will be a power creep is simply because you don't take away what players have already earned. So, and also probably why we won't see it happen everywhere either, because an awful lot of people put an awful amount of time in getting Guardian weapons, and to have them suddenly not work and be effective everywhere would seem like a slap in the face to them. So I'm not sure we will see them everywhere. But what I do think we'll see is these bogey relics or garlics or whatever you want to call them. I think they will be part of the new engineering materials to make these new improved weapons. But I say there must be a real temptation to keep upping the ante and upping the power levels of weapons, which isn't really personally my cup of tea. I don't like games with power creep.
No, I'm with you that I hope they don't do this, because the main point is that Thargoids need to be a challenge. That they are the big PvE big bad at the end, and you need to have that balance in order to, to encourage the combat with it. And I think they've learned the lesson that the Guardian weapons made it too easy.
I agree, but the question, the question I then have is, do you, if you like, simply up the hit points of a Thargoid Cyclops and Interceptor, or, as I hope they'll do, introduce a new variant that requires different tactics to kill? So you don't actually up the inherent DPS or resilience of your ships. You change the encounter to need different tactics.
Yeah, I'll tentatively agree with that. We'll move over to Alec.
Yeah. So on the issue of this effect only being an HIP 22460, I really hope that spreads. I would love to see that spread. I mean, currently we have systems that go into sort of a Thargoid incursion state, and really, I don't engage with Thargoids that much, but as I kind of understand it, it's an opportunity for the community to go and have a bit of fun. AXI jump on it, and it's like a bit of a playground. But to the average player, it's not really threatening. A system that's currently in Thargoid incursion isn't a scary place to go, particularly. No. And what I would love to see is that what we see in HIP 22460 become like either a new state or what it means when a system goes into Thargoid incursion. Imagine, I mean, Shinrata's probably wouldn't happen for a very long time, but imagine you're trying to get to Jameson Memorial, and the minute you drop out in normal space, there are Thargoids on you like flies on. That would be terrifying. That would be amazing. And that would give people a reason to then really fight that, not just the AXI people who enjoy it, but everyone would be suddenly really trying to get them out of those systems again. And then my other thought is the thing that we see down on the planet, the Proteus wave, after effect, if you like. Do people interpret that as kind of the leftover glow of a weapon that's just exploded and left a sort of hideous afterglow? Or do we think that is active and pumping out an effect into the system which is actively shutting down our stuff?
I think the latter.
The latter. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay. What the Thargoids seem to do is reverse the polarity of the neutron flow on the Proteus wave.
So that's great. So that really suggests to me that they could put that into other systems, and that you'll have, I guess, only systems with Thargoid bases currently, which is I have to think about that. But it would be.
Wasn't the Proteus wave supposed to be multi-system?
It was, the Proteus wave was supposed to utilize the network, the connection between all the Thargoid bases, because apparently you could take a link or a probe or something, drop it, and it would point to the next Thargoid base.
Yeah.
And they were hoping to exploit that kind of communication in order to spread the Proteus wave through every single Thargoid base there was. Now, if the Thargoids have reverse engineered that and it's going the other way, that will eventually mean every Thargoid base and every Thargoid system could kick out this wave. Yep. And maybe they have worked out a way to actually take the Thargoid Proteus weapon and put that into human systems. I mean, I think that would
be amazing. Or the big noise we hear at the end of the cutscene is a Thargoid mothership that can deploy that in any damn system. It feels like, which would also be amazing.
Oh, that would be. And over to Psychic.
The messages that we started getting from your boy Daddy Savlon right towards the end were we're going to be drawing, instead of initially it was like we're going to wipe the Thargoids out of the bubble. We're going to wipe the Thargoids out of this bubble. It's going to affect like all of the systems. And then he kept drawing back in what he was saying. Oh, it's only going to be part of the bubble. It's only going to be a little part. He'd be here and it will go to a couple more systems. And then it was like, yeah, we've managed to we've managed to draw all the Thargoids to this system, and we're going to wipe out every single Thargoid, and it will be enough to make sure that they go away forever. Happy times. And obviously we know that didn't work. I didn't catch. I'm sorry. I'm gonna blame the storms that we're having. I didn't catch what you said about Thargoids having an active site or not. I was confused about the confusion that you were having about that, because it was an active site as far as I was aware.
Yeah, I mean, my only confusion on it was the idea of this effect spreading to other systems, and particularly systems, that people are going to trade and stuff. I suddenly thought, but it would only be systems currently that have a Thargoid base, because that's where the effect comes from, which wouldn't be nearly as interesting. I mean, there'd be places out of the way that you wouldn't actually affect normal day-to-day play.
I wonder, because there was some in the patch notes. There was talks about a pending incursion state.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sorry. And I wonder if that is something that can be triggered with like and this is a technical term, a metric butt ton of Guardian stuff being delivered to a particular station. Would that be and it's something that I've talked about in various places. Is it something that we can trigger on with any site by taking like a vast amount of Guardian weaponry or items, which make the Thars go, oh lads, look, there's something over here. Maybe now we should divert our attention over to this and begin it.
Yeah, you bring back UA bombing.
UA bombing, yeah, just like UA bombing. It's definitely something that's been spoken about, but it's not just UA bombing. It's not just going to damage a station. It could also have the opportunity to develop Thargoid conflict zones and things like that, and all of those kind of things would be built out of this incursion state.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention that, but I'll let Shan go first before I put my
I mean, one of the things that has been noted over the past few years is how careful FDev have been to make Thargoid combat optional and the effect of Thargoids optional. Because there's currently only one system where Thargoids are grumpy at you. Everywhere else, they're the usual nonchalant selves. And which basically means outside of HIP, Thargoid conflict is down to you, the player, to instigate it or do something to do that. So that would be quite a change in game philosophy for them to suddenly impose Thargoid-related content on players that didn't want it. And I'm just asking, is that something we think they would do? Would you welcome that? Or do you think it should remain an opt-in activity?
I wish they'd do it. Make systems dangerous.
Yeah, Psychic, do you want to just jump in?
Yeah, it specifically around the most recent Galnet. So around the Thargod Court being so happy and loving Thargoids so much, and Thargoids are friends, not food, and all of that kind of thing. I think the best way to from a narrative perspective, one of the most interesting ways to point out that the Thargoids are out for blood and going to be the actual worst, and we're now entering this world of we've got no choice. We have to fight. It's a dangerous universe out there. We've done enough. Would be for the Thargoids to absolutely decimate some of the Thargod megaships.
Yeah, I mean, I am hoping that what's going to happen is this pre-incursion state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we get similar gameplay to what was happening with the capital ships in HIP 22460, where capital ships come under scout attack, that you can actually defend them. And same with the much requested feature where you have scouts attacking actual stations. You manage to fight them off. You take down enough scouts, then basically it doesn't go into incursion. Otherwise, boom, there goes a station, and the whole incursion thing happens again. What happened last time is that we had the Eagle Eye network, which would tell you which system was in danger of becoming an incursion target, and I don't know whether or not. Well, we don't know whether or not that same kind of mechanic is going to be used again. Jan?
Yeah. I was going to say but your idea of actually having an incursion or pre-incursion state that still isn't opt-in by the player. They don't get sucked into they still have to enter a conflict zone. They still have to enter a certain area of space.
Not if they but not if they want to dock at a station. They're still going to have to dodge around the Thargoid scouts that are attacking that station.
And what about if we I've got this vision of like various commanders who have been let's say folks who have been incredibly pro Thargoid and suddenly finding themselves in this incursion state, and then having Thargoids attacking their home bases, having that as a real and present danger in the galaxy makes me so genuinely excited, especially with how much of an effect they're having on Guardian weaponry at the moment.
Yeah,
I'd like that too, to get some comeuppance. What I'm trying to focus on in my thinking personally is I'm trying to look at the game mechanics this story or change initiates. So the story's great. We can get sucked into the story and all that kind of stuff, which is fantastic and welcome. But what I'm thinking is, okay, so all the Guardian stuff currently doesn't work. What does that do for anti-Thargoid combat now? What could it do if it stays the same? How are Frontier going to make it more interesting and more challenging to fight Thargoids going ahead? Because narrative and stuff is great, but that's only half the equation. The other part is gameplay, and it's the gameplay side I'm thinking on at the moment.
So my sorry for jumping in there, my apologies, but my immediate thought on that would be, we have a pending incursion state. We have the incursion state, which is where you have your normal weapons. If you don't manage to, in a similar vein of the BGS, it's going to be a BGS state. So if you can't do what you need to do to get rid of that BGS state within the set amount of time, you can then it moves on to that state where they activate something within the system. This is all hypothetical, but they activate. There is something activated within the system, and then your Guardian weapons are screwed, and then you really have to fight for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. Well, I'm going to hand over to Alec first because he's got dots.
Sorry, it was just a thought that popped into my head actually. That I thought Shannon was going here with the requirement to have the 4.0 client to experience the new narrative. That kind of suggests there are things to see, new things to see, new game mechanics, new assets, something that's quite fundamental to new content. And then I just suddenly had the thought that the Proteus wave effect that we see, if the theory about that spreading to other systems was true and was a major part of the new narrative, the idea that new systems would get that effect in them that would be fighting them back, then they'd want to deploy that new asset on that planet surface that we can only see in the 4.0 client all over the place.
I'm sure that they'll have that technology in order to do it. It's probably accompanied by a big whaley noise that occurred at the end of the training thing.
Indeed, and more cutscenes.
But that's gameplay, not game mechanics, personally. But I think that what you were saying about different clients is interesting because I already know of people who have been deliberately logging into Horizons so they can escape the consequences of HIP 22460 going boom.
Yeah, but the thing is about if you log into the older version of Horizons, then you will also miss out on the rewards and the gameplay that 4.0 and Odyssey provides.
Yeah,
So,
but if you don't want your ship blown up and you just don't want, you want to opt out of it, you can just go to Horizons and opt out of it.
yeah, but the main point of going to some of these places is effectively you're wanting the encounter with the Thargoids. I don't see them doing a full incursion into the bubble, but I do feel that the Pleiades, if you've got a home base in the Pleiades or the Witchhead Nebula, you better start watching out because
So
they're
do
the ones that we're going to target.
Do the OP Guardian weapons work in H2AP in Horizons client? In other words, if you go to Horizons, do your super duper Guardian weapons still work in H2AP?
I don't know whether or not they do, but you wouldn't be able to shoot at any Thargoids anyway because they're not in that system.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they do, but there's nothing to shoot.
Oh, so Grumpy Thargoids only spawn in Odyssey. You don't get normal Thargoids in Horizons in HHP. Okay.
No, you don't.
No.
Right, so hopefully, I mean, do you think, how fast do you think this is going to unfurl? Do you think, I was hoping that, the last Thursday, we'd get a shock where the next layer or the next movement would happen. Do you think they're going to wait, or do you think they're going to have to move on momentum? Psychic.
I think it's going to, a lot of it is going to hinge on how many garlics, Urelics, whatever you want to call them, how many of those have been delivered to Daddy Ram and Papa Palin, and once they've given us their research, and they might be able to then give us an option for other weaponry. There might be I'm expecting a CG for a potential CG from Mr. Ramtar and Professor Palin to get as many Guardian relics as I can to their. I'm hoping for a CG, although there might also be a CG to get them over to the oh my god, what's it called? The Archimedes. That's the Aegis mothership. That's Aegis megaship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because that's the one that was mentioned in Monday's Galnet episode, they were talking about, oh, we've discovered these new things. I bet you Aegis would pay a pretty penny for them. NB, they don't at the moment. It's just Ram and Palin that are paying Palin pays just shy of $1 million and Ram pays just over $1 million for them. So that might happen. But also there is another thing that is happening. The megaships that are the other remaining Azimuth megaships and the Sirius megaship, they are all on the move. They are going to be moving on the 25th, so next Thursday. So that might give some more of a resolution to the Azimuth saga. So we've got a good couple of weeks wherein they can Frontier can then start looking at implementing that 4.0, 3.8 difference and those different things wherein there might not be a lot of like huge big story beats, but wrapping up some loose ends potentially.
Yeah. Okay. Shan?
I think the next phase, will depend on how how quickly, shall we say, the players solve the outstanding mystery, like the garlic thing, what to do with those, how they work, all that sort of stuff. I'm hoping the timing will be player driven. So if people are really quick and solve it, then they'll move to the next phase. I wouldn't like to think it was on some sort of artificial Frontier timescale, and that somehow we players could speed that up. That would be good. Will it wait for the 4.0 and the code merge? It probably should, because the longer they leave it, the longer players miss out on the new content.
Yeah, I mean, you could take that argument even further by waiting for the console transfers, but I think personally, I think they're probably going to hold off until 4.0 is ready for deployment, and then that's where it's going to go. Right, I think we're going to. All right. Apparently, the Sirius ships are moving this Thursday.
Yeah, that's right.
And after that, the Azimuth is the Thursday.
Yeah,
after.
the Thursday after. And the reason that that's important is because at the moment you can't get the Mimbuni permit anywhere. Operation Witch Hunt doing its thing. So what one of them is doing, I think it's. Obviously it's not the ones that are destroyed, but one of them, I forget the name of it, is moving to a system which has nothing else in but is 25 light years from Mbuni. So if you have Azimuth rep, you can now, well, as of the 25th, you'll be able to go back and get the Mbuni permit, which in turn will give you access to the super shiny Guardian weapons that are only available in Mbuni.
Excellent. Right.
LHS
Okay.
157, thanks, Katie.
Right. Okay, so we're going to round this up. Well, we asked this question to everybody last week, Shan. So, have you enjoyed the update 13 content so far?
I've enjoyed the way the story was told. I think was a real step up for Frontier. The way they've done it was very good. As to the update, well, it kind of remains to be seen what happened with the way it's done afterwards, and I think I've mentioned my thoughts on that a few times. So, yeah, on the whole, the way the story was presented and stuff like that, they did, as I said, they did it as well as I could have expected them to do.
Right. Okay, then. Right, we're going to move on from there and touch on a couple of community items that have happened. First up, Dom Corner has provided which everybody, I think, this seems to be a universal time, is the Uno card flip. So this is the Thargoid Uno card flip, which they played on the Proteus wave. Which is quite a nice design there. And of course, the unclassified relics, which is something that both myself and Psykit have been transforming. Yeah, I think this Commander Zorba Dundee has done a comparison where you can actually see a Grelic next to a relic. And you can see the differences, and yeah, it's quite, yeah, it's quite corrupted. The Thargoid one does look as if it's corroded. Chan, you got a question on the card?
Yes, the Thargoid symbol on the flip card. Aren't there a number of Thargoid symbols in the game?
Yes, there are. Each Thargoid interceptor has its own different symbol.
And then do we know if there is any potential background meaning in the symbol used on this card by Dom Corner, who is a Frontier developer?
Absolutely fucking not. Can you imagine? He's like giving people secret lore. Nah, it's just a Thargoid symbol. It's a joke.
Psychic, but the lightning things.
Lightning things! I blew one up with lightning! It was so exciting when we took them out to...
You blew up a Grelic with lightning?
Yeah, because it had lightning in it. One of the last things that we did on Friday on stream was we sat and we did something very similar to the pictures that Zorba has provided, sort of the blue and the green together, and we were looking at them both, and I was like, oh, what else in the galaxy has lightning? So here, picture this, me flying out with some Grelics on me, 10 11,000 light years off to the closest storm Lagrange cloud, and we exploded it, and it was fun and it was good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
was there
well-
anything? Was there any fragments left, or did it just completely
No.
disintegrate?
It does a weird scream when you explode them. I don't know if it's the same. Like idiot me didn't bring a normal one to test as well. So I just I wasn't expecting anything to happen. It was just floating about in space, and then I looked at it. There's a clip somewhere. I'll include a link to it in the show notes. But I got like, as I am wont to do, I got very excited about the science that was occurring, and then forgot to realize that I also had I didn't have any other ones to test to see if it worked, but they did. I exploded one with some lightning. It didn't give me superpowers. I was very disappointed.
Love it. That's great science. That's really good.
Right. In other news, Commander Alex A on Twitter is the latest in a long line of folks tinkering with the Thargoid Scream in audio programs, and he's come up with some interesting results. We're not going to share them on stream to avoid spoilers, but we will provide a link in the show notes for you to have a look at. There is a continuing expedition at the moment, Expedition Dusk Till Dawn. That's still going to run until Friday the 26th. I do believe. And it's already started at Jackson's Lighthouse yesterday. So it will be doing a lot of traveling towards Beagle Point. So have a look for Expedition Dusk Till Dawn on the community events page. Do not ruin.
I was going to ask the question about the screen. Does it say Paul is dead?
No, and it doesn't say hello either, and it doesn't say Colonia, and it doesn't say remember to buy Ovaltine background backwards. It's all very normal, but this is just, I thought Commander Alexa did a really good job of showing off what you can find in them, and I think it's really interesting. I feel like you really have to see their tweet to fully appreciate it.
The link's going in the show notes, isn't it?
Yeah, the links in the show notes.
The links in the show notes, and
I do like it though. If I haven't seen the analysis, but if the analysis is correct, I do like it when Frontier bury nuggets like this and stuff.
100%, it's really good.
Yeah, but then you always get people complaining. You have to use external tools to find out. I don't care. Everybody would use external tools anyway. I like the fact that there's these external puzzles to the game.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. Right. Psychit, do you want to give an update to?
I kind of did. I kind of did with the megaships moving. That's the only bit that we have as far as Witch Hunt is concerned. We're waiting to see what happens with those megaships moving, because one is moving to T-Tauri. So fingers crossed we might have something to do then. But Discord's still open, and there's still as much tinfoil in there as there is pretty much everywhere else at the moment.
So we want more tinfoil. We're going to have a world shortage of tinfoil at this moment. Right, mostly clueless section. This is Domzilla 2112. Basically, this is a obvious one, but one that newbies always forget. If you want to collect stuff in your SRV, you must target it before using your cargo scoop. I know it sounds stupid, but there's a lot of people who don't know that. And Soccer42 says, remember your limpets. Always useful. I don't know how we would have got through stuff there without the decom limpets that we were using. Right. Now, has anybody got any other business? No? It's not even the next buckyball's
when's
going.
the buckyball?
Yes, that's a way away, isn't it?
2 weeks.
Away. It's 2 weeks away. That's nothing in real time.
Plenty of time to enjoy update 13 is what we thought. We thought we'd give people a bit of leeway to.
Yeah, the next buckyball racing one is on this 27th. So thankfully I'll be back for then. So yay. Right. Well, I guess if nobody's got any other business... Oh, there was something. We did put out a request last week for the last paint job. If anybody wanted to send in a daft limerick or even a drabble. I can't even remember what the subject was on.
I don't think it mattered.
It was something to do with what happened in HIP. We've had one entry from Commander Tekarov. So basically, if anybody else wants to put in an entry or two to email info@laveradio.com, then we'll put it forward. Otherwise, I think Commander Tekarov gets it by default next week.
Tekarov will definitely get at least one of them.
Yeah. So info@laveradio.com. Now that I've got access to the emails again. So that's it, I guess. So time for the shout outs. Episode 7, Valuable Assets, part 2 of the Dex Legacy, is the last in the current series, and it will premiere next week at that's the 23rd of August at 8 o'clock. If you want more information, go to thedexlegacy.com and enjoy that. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30. Yeah, you can tune in to that at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truggers, or if you just want the audio, radioforthemug.com. Now that CQC working again, you can actually go to the CQC Discord at discord.me/EliteDangerousCQC for a bit of CQC actions. Unfortunately, Thargoids are not included. We're also giving a shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. So obviously there's Flight Assist. I don't know, the guard frequency hasn't put anything out for the last couple of weeks. I hope everything's okay over there.
We haven't put one out. Flight Assist hasn't put one out for nearly 2 months, so it's okay. We've been busy.
Yeah, you've been a bit busy, admittedly. And Loose Screws will wave to our friends over the other side of the Atlantic, and I hope Chig sorts out his sound problems soon. Now, following this, I have just been informed we do have the latest Galnet News Digest as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. They have beaten the Thargoids. Well played for them. And would just like to thank everybody who has made suggestions and commented in the Twitch chat. Thank you very much. We haven't had any in-game commanders happening this week because due to our resident moving target. Ben is not with us. And we'll also say a special thanks to Commanders Tokuso, JN Trax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music for this show. So, that is it for yet another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at laveradio, and you can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where commanders like to hang out and chat, which you can find at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now, please get in touch if you've got any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. So thanks to Commander Alec Turner, thanks to Commander Shan, and of course thanks to Commander Psychit, and special thanks of course goes out to today's tech specialist, Commander Ventura. So until next time, commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 16th of August 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, the Alliance is the first superpower to admit the scale of their losses. News of the unclassified relics spread. The Thargoid cult praises the Thargoid victory. And in 2 adjacent valleys on a planet in HIP 22460, the Thargoids have been learning ballet. And Apex has been stubbornly refusing to give up on rescuing a commander despite mounting losses.
With the failure of Salvation's plans in HIP 22460, and with a renewed interest in Guardian relics, and particularly how they can be changed into unclassified relics when charged up using a Thargoid device, some commanders are calling for the revival of Aegis to provide a superpower-wide, coordinated scientific and military approach to investigating Thargoids and their technology, and to addressing the threats and challenges of coexisting with Thargoids. The remnants of Aegis, which was formally disbanded earlier this year, remains active as a small but fervent community far from the bubble in the PMD 2009-48 system, home of the Orion Nebula Tourist Centre and close to the site of the Proteus and the Guardian Thargoid battlefield in Trapezium Sector YU-X C1-2. In fact, Aegis Research now runs the tourist centre and a number of hotels in the system, so if you visit, expect to be regaled with stories about how much better things were before Admiral Tanner was arrested and Professor Tesreau forced to resign, and how we shouldn't trust Salvation. Professor Palin and Ramtar, who has worked closely with Professor Tesreau in the past, have both been calling for samples of the new green-coloured unclassified relics, which were first discovered by Commander Kralone. Commanders supporting the reinstatement of Aegis are reported to be also taking samples of these new relics to the Aegis megaship Archimedes, which has remained in PMD 2009-48 since commanders chose to back Salvation instead of Aegis in July last year. With the Thargoids posing a significantly greater threat than they did before the Proteus wave was fired, research into the unclassified relics, which are believed to have some connection to the Thargoids' new powers, is likely to prove critical to our understanding of what has happened and may eventually prove crucial to our survival. Whether Professor Palin, Ramtar, or Aegis Research will be able to make the breakthrough remains to be seen.
I can't get the power back up. No, you're not listening. It's dead. There's nothing to work with. The panels are blank, the drive's disengaged, manual override isn't doing anything. Unless you want to try rubbing sticks together to ignite a spark, we're stranded here. At least we took the Thargoids out first, though, otherwise we'd be in big trouble. I need some time to break down where the problem stems from. There's a panel under the main coupling unit that was...
The Alliance has admitted the scale of its losses in HIP 22460 and has pledged to hand over even more control to Sirius as it scrambles to create an effective navy to combat the new Thargoid menace. The Alliance, Empire and Federation could be accused of a lack of vision and contingency planning when they chose to put all their resources behind Salvation's plan to wipe out the Thargoids. Salvation's plan backfired spectacularly, not just failing to wipe out the Thargoids, but giving them new powers and levels of aggression. Should the Thargoids choose to take back the Pleiades, the California Nebula, the Witchhead Nebula, the Coalsack Nebula and Muscadart region, there's very little that the Alliance their defence partners Sirius Corporation, or for that matter, the Empire and Federation, could do to stop them. If the Thargoids chose to advance on the core systems of the human-occupied bubble, the Thargoids could take any systems they wanted. The loss of the capital ship, Oath of Tindarius, which in true Alliance tradition was a refitted freighter with a few extra gun emplacements, was accompanied by the far greater loss of thousands of smaller Alliance ships, a ragbag selection of Type 10s, Chieftains, Challengers and Crusaders, among other ships. All those lost have been officially honoured in a ceremony broadcast throughout the Alliance. But it's a sad truth that a complete roll call of those lost may take weeks more to compile. The decentralised Alliance Defence Force is weaker now than it has ever been, and, according to a joint statement issued by the Prime Minister and the CEO of Sirius Corporation, the Council of Admirals has chosen to double down on its pact with Sirius Corporation in an attempt to make the ADF more relevant in a changing galaxy with significant new threats requiring a root and branch restructuring that will allow member fleets the flexibility to be formed and deployed rapidly to Thargoid incursions wherever and whenever they may occur. Sirius's member of the Council of Admirals, Nicholas Glass, will be in charge of this restructuring, in which experienced combatants will be replaced by a new tier of middle managers. Glass will be personally in charge of all anti-Xeno operations. It is notable that Sirius Corporation's only megaship anywhere near HIP 22460, El Centinela Cadejo, remains in Pleiades Sector CW-U B3-2, together with Azimuth Biotech's two remaining megaships, the Musashi and the Glorious Prospect, which, incidentally, is still loaded up with vast amounts of HN shock mounts, radiation baffles and microcontrollers, which were intended to repair Azimuth's research bases. None of Sirius's assets have been involved in any anti-Thargoid combat at any point this year. Logs recovered from the Oath of Tindarius show that some of those who died following Sirius and Alliance orders to protect Salvation's Proteus wave had misgivings. Did they die in vain, chasing an impossible dream on behalf of those safe behind desks in Alioth and Limbava? Very sadly, it seems possible that they did.
We've been told for so many months now that salvation is the answer. The war will end through his actions, not ours. Like he's some kind of messiah. Have people lost faith in the military? The ADF has fought these creatures for years now. Sure, there have been setbacks, but there have been plenty of victories as well. I was there when the Alliance secured the Witchhead Nebula Enclave. We drove the Thargoids back and gave them a few wounds to lick. Gave the Imps and Feds something to think about too. And now we've all bet our chips on Salvation's cards. Here in HIP 22460, we've lost thousands of good people keeping his back covered while he builds this wonderful contraption. I truly hope it works, because a lot has been sacrificed to give the Proteus wave a chance.
The Galactic Interfaith Commune has backed the extremists of the Thargod cult who are openly celebrating the victory of the Thargoids in HIP 22460, amid widespread outrage from the galactic community. Little is known about the leader of the Thargod extremists, other than that she speaks with an imperial accent. But the first apostle of the true chapters delivered a proclamation that people of the Thargod religion rejoice in the defeat of those who tried to desecrate the Thargoids, which they believe are the dark angels of their Thargod deity. She said that the Thargod is closer than ever and will soon manifest itself. Some have speculated that the first apostle may be Azimuth Biochemical's test subject D2, who may have a psychic connection to the Thargoids, and that the Thargod may be a Thargoid hive ship. Despite some calls for the alien-loving traitors to be arrested, In systems where freedom of religious expression is protected, the Thargoid cult has experienced large numbers of new recruits, mainly among those who believe a Thargoid victory is now inevitable, and that further resistance will only prolong the agony. For the novices, humanity's extinction is to be embraced. Despite their inflammatory comments, the Thargoid cult is not believed to have any connection with the Thargoids, and cannot be considered to be allies, spies, or insiders. Dr. Jamila Griffin of the Galactic Interfaith Commune welcomed the First Apostle's remarks, suggesting that the evolution of the Thargoid cult into a more structured society could be beneficial. The Thargoid religion is law-abiding, and only organises where it's permitted to by law. It seems likely that we'll hear more from the First Apostle of the True Chapters in the coming months.
Following the epic rescue effort to extract commanders whose ships were destroyed on the ground at Fort Ash following the Thargoid takeover of HIP 22460, a number of commanders have been choosing to land on planets there to study the local fauna and to commune with the Thargoids. It's a bit like communing with great white sharks. If you respect the Thargoids, you should come to no harm. In one valley we had Commander Alec Turner teaching the Thargoids ballet moves as they danced to the Royal Xenophonic Orchestra playing Tharkovsky's Swan Lake. While in the next valley, following a suggestion by Commander Greybeard Seawolf, Commander Takoso was having hours of fun ordering Apex taxis and watching the fireworks as the Thargoids attacked and destroyed 30 in a row. The Apex space taxi drivers showed remarkable stoicism as they lined up to be pulverised by the alien spacecraft circling above the planet. And Apex was quite happy issuing refunds to its would-be passenger each time one of its adders was unable to land safely. War artist The High Wake captured a likeness of one of the Apex drivers after a particularly successful photo shoot. Commander Takoso reported hearing Commander Alec Turner in the next valley shouting 5, 6, 7, 8 at the Thargoids through his megaphone, while Commander Turner complained about the amount of times he'd had to reset a shot because of all the Apex taxis being blown up in the sky above his ballet class. With a very stripped down and engineered ship like the Imperial Courier, it is possible to escape from Thargoids in HIP 22460 simply by running away very fast, the so-called rincewind manoeuvre. It makes studying their behaviour not only endlessly fascinating, but also just about survivable.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news and fly away from Thargoids very fast, so you don't have to.
My Romeo Rodeo, a Thargoid from the 460. Wanna watch you mine? Better get in line. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Lave Radio, Lave Radio, Lave Radio, Lave Radio, listen to Day-Dio. Dangerous podcast, it's the elite. Lave Radio, so much to say, Dio. This side of Diso, we're loving the heat. I hope someone knows what we're talking about. They mean disco. Lave Radio, it's here to stay, Dio. Orange Sidewinder, this is your crew. Lave Radio, hey, 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 Dio, with second technician, Forrester 2. Ooh, it's come. It's a podcast that's based on a game. Not to listen would be such a shame. It makes other stations sound very lame. That's Lave Radio.
Ooh, swing your pants.
No, Simon, we're not them. We're pink custard.
We cut the mustard.
We're never flustered. We can be trusted. Lave Radio, this song's for you.
For the Orange Sidewinder crew.
Elite Dangerous is what you do.
And then you talk a lot about it too.
Lave Radio, ready to play Dio.
Search for their website
and off you go. Lave Radio, nothing to pay Dio. Sci-fi gamer, DJ fans, this is your show. Oh, it's a niche audience then. This is radio online called Lave. With DJs Chris, Alan, John,
but not Dave.
Forever surfing internet airwaves. That's Lave Radio. It's a podcast that's based on a game. Not to listen would be such a shame. It makes other stations sound very lame. That's Lave Radio. Lave Radio. Lave Radio. Lave Radio.
Is this, are you sure it's Lave?
Yeah, Lave Radio.
It's not Love Radio.
Well, I know, we all love Lave Radio.
No, but it's not Live Radio.
Oh, well, I don't know whether it's live or Lave Radio, live, and we love it.